Joining us on the show right now from Shooting Illustrated, very pleased to have with us Mr. Bob Boyd, the assistant editor. And Bob, thank you, sir, for coming on the program tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me, Cam. I really appreciate it.
Listen, I saw your piece. I think it was linked from the blog Say Uncle earlier today. Disabled in the Bullseye, and this story was a real eye-opener for me, Bob. And you start out with some pretty staggering statistics. In 2008, you say people with disabilities were victims of 40,000 rapes or sexual assaults, 116,000 robberies, 115,000 aggravated assaults, and nearly 459,000 simple assaults. And in 20% of those cases, the attacker used some sort of weapon against these victims. Now, if those numbers don't make you sit up a little bit straighter and recognize, this is a big problem and a big issue, I don't know what would.
It's a huge, huge issue. It really floored me. And these statistics came straight from the Department of Justice. So believe me, I didn't know what to think at first. I mean, I knew it was an issue because, I was born with cerebral palsy, and I was, raised to be very conscious about my surroundings, my safety, and it was just something that was drilled into me from a very early age. So I always knew that I had this, imaginary bullseye on my back.
Mm-hmm.
But, finding these statistics, wow, I didn't know what to think.
Yeah, and so this has prompted you. You say in the months ahead you're going to be writing a series of articles on self-defense for the physically disabled.
Yes.
I don't even know, where do you get started with that topic, Bob?
Well, the first place I got started was to prove my theory that people with disabilities have a real need to be able to protect themselves. Myself, I'm one of the thousands of people in Fairfax County with a concealed carry permit. I was taught, from a very early age how to use firearms, and this need has really driven me to research this. So the statistics was the start. It's the bedrock from which I can build. From there, awareness is key. Especially with somebody with a physical disability, because you have to be able to be aware of your surroundings. You have to recognize a potential threat before it occurs, because people with disabilities don't necessarily can't really get out of the way. They got to see it coming. They got to be able to respond. So I listed a couple things that's going to be included in articles to come, and hopefully, people have piqued their interest with these statistics, and they'll be coming back to shootingillustrated.com in the coming weeks to see what else is in store.
Well, I hope that they will. And Bob, we've had folks from the NRA's Disabled Shooting Services program on this show for years and years. Vanessa does a great job there, and we've not ever touched on the self-defense aspects, though, for disabled shooters. I know that one of our listeners is actually a legally blind gun owner and a CCW holder in Pennsylvania. He actually wrote in as we've been talking here. He says, I'll tell you what I do. I use all of the aiming aids like laser grips, night sights. I don't feel sorry for myself, and I don't let anybody pity me. That's what I do to protect myself. I look forward, Bob, to having you back on the program as these articles appear, because I'd love to continue the discussion.
Oh, I am looking forward to coming back, Cam. Thank you very much.
You bet. Have a great weekend, Bob. And again, thanks for writing such a great piece.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Bob Boyd, assistant editor with Shooting Illustrated magazine.